So happy Friday. Welcome to our bi-weekly Eastside Wrap meeting where we discuss the impact of homelessness on the east side of Santa Barbara. My name is Landon Rank. I'm the Associate Director with SB Act, and I'm joined by Barbara Anderson and Liz Stotts with the City of Santa Barbara. This is a joint effort as a part of a broader South County collaborative that we're running to try to address homelessness throughout the region. I'm going to start with just a few general announcements. And since we have a couple new faces and we just haven't talked about this for a while, just a few quick reminders about the culture of these calls. Um, Number one is just that we like to use people first language. You'll hear this a lot. We'll say people experiencing homelessness because when we're talking about this, we got to remember that we're talking about humans first and foremost. Um, we are talking about a lot of people, many of whom who were Santa Barbara residents when they first lost housing. So it's funny talking about the word homeless when in many ways people are home, they just don't have a house in our community right now. Um, but we do still use that homeless terminology because it's just what we're all familiar with. Just a reminder too, we often are talking about people who have mental health or substance abuse concerns, and that is true. And we also want to hold that intention with the fact that that's not the story for everyone who's experiencing homelessness. So just be mindful of that as we're sharing that there's not one monolith story for everyone who's experiencing homelessness in our community. It takes a lot of variety of different forms. Um, and then finally, just the reminder that the goal of these meetings is really to try and be solutions focused as much as we can. So if there are issues, we hope that we can all turn to trying to work on solutions together. As much as it can be tempting sometimes to just try and point the finger or blame, we want to try and figure out, okay, how do we actually make things better? So yeah, so we appreciate you all being here today. We do have a couple of things coming up I want to make everyone aware of. One is that our next Eastside Rap meeting is actually going to be a Monday evening. We're switching it up at the request of a couple people just to have a one-off in the evening so that we can try and maybe get a couple of people who can't typically show up to these Friday morning calls. So that will be on October 21st, Monday at 5:30 p.m. And I will share out a calendar invite for that as well. Hopefully, we're able to get a good turnout. I know that that can be tough for some of the staff of the agencies that are typically here. So we'll do our best to try and get some of our teams here at least. Um, and then we're working on trying to figure out a way to make that a hybrid meeting. But if you are still the most comfortable with Zoom, by default, we are going to have this same Zoom link. So no matter what, you have this Zoom link available, which is the same one that's on our website. And I'll make sure that you all get that email in advance too. But it'll be our typical Eastside Wrap meeting. It'll just be a different time of day. Any questions about that? If we are able to figure out the hybrid thing, I will be in touch about the actual in-person location for those who actually want to be there. Sometimes it's nice to actually meet each other. So, and then next week is World Homeless Day on October 10th. And so SB Act is partnering with PATH, the Rescue Mission, CityNet, City of Goleta, the Santa Barbara Foundation, a couple others to put on a couple of different things throughout the city this week, but culminating in a webinar on Thursday evening next week, where we'll be hearing from several people who have experience of homelessness in Santa Barbara County, basically just hearing about their stories and kind of some of the stereotypes and myths that they heard and what they are hoping for this community in the future. So I encourage you to join us if you're able. I realize the link's not on the screen there, but I'll put a link in the chat. So this is kind of the calendar for the next few weeks is that once again, we will not meet 2 weeks from today at this time because instead we will be meeting the following Monday evening. But after that, we will be back on our regular Friday morning schedule. All right. So the way we typically structure these meetings is that we start by hearing questions and concerns from community members in the East Side. And then after that, we'll turn it over to the people who are doing homeless services and our law enforcement just to hear about what they're doing related to homelessness in the last couple of weeks. So we'll go ahead and start by opening it up to community members just to share anything.
Can I jump in?
Please.
So PATH. As usual, the sidewalk is absolutely impassable when I passed yesterday. When I passed a few days before, there was a pit bull fight, which was unpleasant. And we fought long and hard to get the signs up by the post office so that the RVs wouldn't be parking there, and they have returned. And finally, I know this one is thorny and impossible and difficult, but the little guy who was at the previous location of the farmer's market across from Dune continues to inhabit that. Was it a bus stop? And so, some of the things that I've been noticing. Thanks.
Thanks, Natasha. I can speak to that last one too, and know that we're all still engaging with that individual, but it has been tough.
And Brian, can you speak to how often code enforcement is there to, I know you're managing the unattended and attended personal belongings in the public right away, and I know Mr. Lincoln, who is at that um, former bus stop location across from Dune, we're also trying to manage his personal belongings as well.
Yeah, with any individual, as soon as they start accumulating excessive things that aren't exactly mobile, that's when we step in and we'll post the items for removal.
And
And
how
that's
often are you in Cassique? I know you were doing twice a day. Is it back to daily?
it's been daily.
Yeah.
This past week, it's been daily.
Okay.
Mhm. We continued to try to work with the refrigeration place, trying to get them to get their pallets under control as well. That's been an ongoing issue with them, leaving the pallets out for all to take.
Yeah, we're trying to address the source of those because we know they accumulate really quickly. And again, our team clears them as quickly as we can notice them, for sure.
And Natasha, without being defensive, I think we try the best we can, engaging people here, doing the SB Connect process, walking around, clearing up in front. Yeah, so I don't want to be defensive, but there's just also so much we can do, and we do the best we can. And we also, try to get people to the Faro Center, navigating that. There's been that person that Susie mentioned, the student, potential student. So we also try and navigate through the City College opportunity to get people away from path, but into opportunities that could benefit them.
And we've had quite a bit of movement of folks who are living in their vehicles down to South Quarantina. So that is a very considerable and significant priority region for us. And so I will say, thankfully, that the California Encampment Resolution funding that we've received to address vehicular homelessness, one of our priority regions, actually two of our priority regions are inclusive of South Quarantina. So they are receiving active outreach from New Beginnings, and they are again getting enrolled in programming through SURF as well as Safe Parking Program if they're eligible. And so we'll have updated numbers for everyone on our evening meetings. I know, again, this is of high interest. And so Liz Stotts can share the number of folks that have been enrolled in that region. And we can also share with Sergeant Beltran our enforcement efforts in the region as it relates to oversized vehicles.
To just tag on to that, I did speak with the program manager of the Safe Parking and the SURF grant about the number of large vehicles that have settled into that area, to ask those folks to not settle down in that area because it is a high impact region because of how narrow the street is and how busy it is. So they are out there relaying that information that this is not a good place to settle down in because A, they're gonna attract a lot of attention. That location is already highly impacted. So whether people choose to follow those recommendations is to be seen, but New Beginnings is actively encouraging folks to not settle down in places like that while they work on getting them housed.
Thank you, Barbara and Liz, for bringing that up. I know one of our managers has been in touch with, I think, Sergeant Beltran and others, Dwight, in getting Quarantina in the RVs moved. There's been a lot of illegal dumping, and so our team's been doing a lot of the pickup of, and feces and urine, and it's just become quite a problem. So, and he made some suggestions. I don't know if this is something that the team can noodle on, maybe doing sweeping or street sweeping or permitting, and, just to kind of keep that corridor open, because it does cause, the could be subject to incidents, obviously, and that's what we want to deter from. Thank you.
We are looking at different parking regulations citywide. Some of the areas around South Quarantina have the no overnight parking already. And so it's our parking enforcement team is, operates during the daytime, but patrol officers can write tickets during the evening time. We are looking at different regulations. There's also employee parking programs that we can have, especially in high industrial areas. So we actually conducted a site visit with PD and the city attorney's office through all of these areas. And it was just 2 weeks ago, and we had a deadline for 3 weeks to meet with our traffic engineer to make the determination of things that we could shift in terms of parking, zone to parking, loading zones, school zones, and other areas. So again, we should have a more detailed report in a couple of weeks of what's possible and not possible in these regions.
And Sergeant Beltran,
Right.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just acknowledging. Thank you. I appreciate that. We wanted just to at least see that the noodle is, moving.
And Sergeant Beltran, I know you said your internet connection might be weak, but with the questions related to illicit activities like bike theft or drug dealing, can you share a little bit about sort of what information is needed in order for law enforcement action to be taken in those kind of situations? May not be able to connect in. Looks like he's frozen. We'll circle back.
Maybe, Landon, we can put the question in the chat just so maybe he'll have a chance to answer that.
Thank you. Good call. And while I type that in, are there other questions or concerns from the community?
I wanted to also add, we talked with, I was in a meeting with a couple people from our sustainability and resilience team, actually talking about some of the issues with the pallets and the active work of trying to work with the business owner of the refrigerator company to store those pallets in a different location. Got some clarity on, there is signage that prohibits storage of personal property on that part of Cacique. So code enforcement doesn't even have to do posting. They can just go in and remove it. So that we got that clarity yesterday. So we hope to start seeing, being able to have more regular addressing of that area in terms of people storing their items.
Thank you. Jose, did you have your hand raised? Maybe not. Anything else from the community?
Sorry, I forgot to turn on my mic. Very quickly, where I reside at, this fellow came in maybe a few months back. And he came from the tiny homes there on Santa Barbara Street. And so we were in the community kitchen and I asked him, so where were you at? He goes, well, I was with the tiny homes. I go, yeah, well, how is it over there? He goes, well, at first it was really good. It was great, and then after a while it just got really bad. I go, well, how so? He goes, well, staff got really mean, a little nasty, and at one time the food that they were serving there was really good, and then the food was just really bad. It was just like and I just couldn't wait to get out of there. And he had two choices: either move in here or get a Section 8 voucher to find a place on his own. And he just says, "Look, I just wanted to get out of there really quick," and came here. So that's pretty much it. So I have no idea what's going on presently with the tiny homes, how the staff are treating the people that are staying there, what the food is like. I wouldn't know. It was just this one person that told me this. That's it.
We really appreciate you sharing that with us. We actually conducted our regional action plan neighborhood walk yesterday, and there were individuals that we interacted with that had a negative experience there as well. So I just appreciate the openness of you sharing it on this meeting, and then we'll absolutely be taking those back to the provider that operates those modular units.
Anything else from the community before we go to our service providers? Herschel, did you want to share an announcement about the neighborhood walk?
Yeah, just to note that we will do a neighborhood walk on 10/22. And we would like to work with Natasha. I think Liz is in contact with Natasha, will be, and looking at how do we get community participation. So I'm looking forward to that meeting that's later to see what potentially could be the positive impact of that. Yeah, so that's around the neighborhood walk, but I'll wait for when it's our chance to give a little update or announcements.
Okay, thank you. And then thanks, Sergeant Beltran, for sharing a little more information. I'll put the link for online reporting in the chat. And then if you can share your email in the chat as well, that would be great. All right, so why don't we go ahead and go to our service provider here to check in our city minute team.
Landon, you were breaking up for me. I'm not sure if that was just me or if that was happening for everybody.
Yeah, it sounded robotic.
Yeah.
Oh, so can you hear me now?
Okay.
All right.
Good morning,
Yeah,
everybody. Not much that the city has to report on the east side this week. However, last Sunday, we did do a walk along East Beach below the graveyard there along the cliffs. We actually looking for a particular individual that we had gotten an outreach call for, and we were unable to locate her. However, we did see two new camps in that area. There was no one present at the time, but all indications show they are still active. The tents were like brand new almost. There was sleeping stuff in the tents because they were open. We kind of looked around the area. We didn't see who the people were who were camping there. And we walked almost all the way up to Butterfly Beach. There doesn't seem to be the camps that were by the little stone-like building there seem to be gone now, and didn't see any actual homeless activity on the beach that day. But we will continue to monitor that area as well as East Beach itself, the park. Yesterday during our stroll of the beach area, we were in Chase Palm Park and engaged with several of them we've engaged with in the past. We gave them cards about the Faro Center. Hopefully, they'll make use of the Faro Center. I'm trying not to venture out of the east side because we're just all over town. So that's about our report from CityNet for the week, for the last couple of weeks. Hope everyone has a great day today.
Hey,
John.
John. I'm looking at Fulcrum right now and I see a picture of a red tent that I think Alondra took on the 29th.
That's
Is
the
that
one.
okay?
That's one of them, yes.
Okay. Is that looks like it's under the cemetery?
Yes.
Okay. Um,
There should be one in there too, Liz, of I think it was like a blue tent. Kind of maybe it was up on a hill.
I see a blue tent on here.
Yeah.
Also same date.
Yeah. That's the other one.
Okay. I think the red one is in the city area, so I think we can, right, Brian, is that? I think the other one is in that weird area that's
Yeah.
between city and county. So anything in the city we can take care of, anything on outside the city.
Yeah, well, we can't really see the line between the city and the county out there
Yeah,
on the beach. So
yeah, exactly.
if we see something, we take a picture of it.
That's why we always have to kind of look at the map and kind of coordinate with the county on that
Yeah.
one. So
Yeah.
I'll relay that just to make sure that someone's on it.
I think the Rangers have been out there
Okay.
on one or two occasions because every once in a while we get a call from them letting us know what's going on out there. It's a difficult area to get to. You have to go when the tide is out, or else you'll get wet. And that's happened to me once. Or you come in from the Butterfly Beach side and you have to have rock climbing gear. But we've done it. So
Thank you, CityNet. Let's go to the PATH team.
So yeah, unfortunately, we don't have an outreach worker yet, but still continuing to do the necessary recruitment. However, we have an AmeriCorps recruit or person that will be here for the year that will be getting the necessary training to do the outreach. We've collaborating with CityNet for the initial job shadowing or outreach shadowing, just as a way of also building partnerships and learning from them. So at least there will be a presence over the next period until we have a second or a full-time outreach person. So that again, World Homelessness Day, reminding everyone to join for that 10-10 event, and very powerful videos that's been shared, and great that we could contribute with people who live here, and that's in our PSH program. It's heartwarming to see some of the positive outcomes that we do make. And then we have a mixer at the Brass Bear on November 7. More about that, please come and join about the exciting new program with City College. I think as a community, we need to look at what's possible and celebrate those as part of this continuum of care, celebrate the many things that's happening in this community. So for me, that's it for now. Please ask the questions.
Thank you, Herschel. I put the link in the chat window for those World Homeless Day videos that you mentioned.
Maybe just Liz, I think someone mentioned about, I think it's Susan, that was the person who were potentially panhandling, or that someone was concerned about. So our case manager went to meet with her, got an Instacart, hygiene, and so there's some support there. She's getting food stamps as the court date on October 30, and so yeah, hopefully there's some progress. She promised or indicated that she stopped drinking because she has an open container. I don't know what that really means in essence, or what an open container means, but so we followed up, and it sounds positive for now.
Let's go to our code enforcement team, and then on deck we'll have Sergeant Beltran. So Sergeant Beltran, if you can't do audio, then we'll ask you if you can type in some updates in the chat window.
Yes. Speaking to the East Beach area, the red tent, I just posted that on Wednesday afternoon. I'm gonna go back out there this morning and see if it's the last time I posted this individual. He just packed up and left, so I haven't scheduled a cleanup. It may not be warranted. Um, Beyond that, there's a blue tent that I think it's on the county. It's right on the line. He's an individual that I've kind of followed all over the city. Um, Sergeant Beltran might know him, be able to identify him. He has a very distinguished in his abdomen. His guts actually push his shirt out. For those individuals who know this person, it's very noticeable. And he's camping down on the county down there. That's the blue tent. Um, as far as Turtle Park area between Cesar Chavez and Garden Street along the railroad corridor there, we've been hitting it pretty hard with cleanups, trying to get that area cleaned up. It's been definitely a problem zone for us. Lots of stuff, just lots of stuff, lots of bike parts and just gear of all kinds and trash. And so we're trying to get a handle on that. Other than that, the waterfront's looking pretty good. Haven't had any real problems there. So, and we continue to go to Cacique and just try to monitor those cans there in Cacique and Soledad to try to see if there's any extra dumping. Our signs seem to be working, and well, we also have Marburg picking up 5 days a week there, so it's a lot cleaner. So that's it for us.
Do you guys handle Coda Street there around Santa Barbara Street?
Coda?
Yeah.
I imagine, sure.
Yeah, there's the bus stop there that's in front of the parking lot. There is a gentleman there that we've attempted to engage with on a couple different occasions, but he's got stuff just all over that bus stop. When we drove by it last time, I think it was like on Sunday, and he is extremely difficult to deal with. He doesn't want services. He says he's going to go on a world tour pretty soon. So kind of hoping that happens, but I really don't think it's going to. But that's just something you might want to take a look at. I don't know if he like puts it away at some point, but the 2 times we have been by there, it's just there's been stuff just all over the bus stop. And it doesn't really look like trash. It looks like it's like knickknacks and stuff that he just stacks all over the place. And I know that if I wanted to catch a bus, that's not the stop I'd want to be at.
Sure. And that's at Coda and Santa Barbara Street.
Yeah, Coda and Santa Barbara, in between Santa Barbara and Anacapa there.
Oh,
right across
okay.
from Veracruz.
Yeah, right across the street from Veracruz.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll take a look. Thank you.
Yeah, Al has something as well.
Yeah. Well, one win that we got, I was just thinking about it when you mentioned the area of garden and the parks and everything right there. On our walk yesterday, we had a nice little win and saw an individual in need right there. And I know Barbara and I walked up and we were able to transport that individual here to the Faro Center. So those are perfect examples of times where we just, we're out in our walks, we're seeing someone in community in need. And then now having this resource to literally offer it. And we got him in the car right then and there and brought him right over here, was able to get some food and water, stuff like that. So that was just really nice in that area you talked about yesterday.
But we had to miss the picture they took.
Yeah, you weren't in our group.
I'm sorry.
And
that was a good one, right, Barbara?
Whatever is wet, sloppy, damp hair. Yeah, for sure. It was great.
Brian, you got a shout out in the chat for all the cleanups. I wanted to also just ask if there's certain times of day that the cleanups typically occur.
It's That's an interesting
It
question.
varies.
No, not yet. It varies. I'll just say that. That's the easiest way to put it. Some of the creeks cleanups will happen more in the afternoon. Some of the non-creek cleanups happen first thing in the morning.
Okay.
So,
And then thank you, Sergeant Beltran. We appreciate you typing that all in the chat. But there's a two-parter about their regular patrols as well as a comment addressing some of the RVs near the post office on Cacique. There's a question for Brian. Did the power washing for Cacique start back up?
it has not. The last time that happened, we saw pretty limited success with it. It really didn't do what we had hoped to really clean off the grime on the sidewalk. So it hasn't happened again. We certainly could organize that to happen again. See what we can do to get the grime off of there.
Herschel, was Pat doing some power washing in the area for a while? Is that still happening?
In the chat, actually, one of our volunteers, we're working with one of our volunteers to do a cleanup and do that kind of cleaning. We're just busy coordinating with her to do that. Yeah. And Albert, who's part of our facilities person, he does that as far as possible where he can.
I also wanted to tag on since Al brought up the Faro Center. So just for anybody who's new on the call, so there is now a daytime center for people who are experiencing homelessness or housing insecurity at 621 Chapala Street. So it's kind of near the corner of Chapala and Ortega. And it's open Monday to Friday, 9 to 3. So there is a place where people can go to get like a warm meal a couple days out of the week, other days of the week, just at least a snack bag, have a hot cup of coffee, and then get connected with housing, employment, those kind of resources. So we do have informational cards that look like this, and we're glad to share those with anyone who wants any. It's just helpful to be able to pass out to someone if you see them who might benefit from that.
Yeah, I just want to maybe suggest that when you are passing out cards and letting people know about the Faro Center, that to make sure they understand the hours of the Faro Center, because on weekends and sometimes in the evening, we're running into people that are here in the parking lot. Just last weekend, we had a couple of people here asking for food, and love to help out, except the problem is sometimes they're hanging around and I have concerns about the neighbors. I've let Landon know about this, and just I was thinking let other providers know about it to make sure they understand the hours are 9 to 3, and so that I don't want to get in hot water with our neighbors because we have a bunch of people coming down here during off hours. And during off hours, we're actually not here that much because we're out on the street. So we're not really able to engage or control the situation as well as it probably needs to be.
John, thank you so much for bringing that up. Our team talked about that a lot yesterday. And we are more concerned than you, where the city is the leasee of that building. So we want to make sure that we're managing that as well. So we stalked through some strategies because of the feedback that you gave us. So thank you for keeping us updated.
Right. Anything else from the city of Santa Barbara, Liz or Barbara?
I don't think so. Liz, do you have anything to add?
No, I don't believe so.
All right. Well, we can wrap it up for our community members today. We're going to ask the service providers to stick around so that we can talk about individuals by name. But for our community members, thank you all for being here. We really appreciate your time, and every piece of input that you share is helpful for us. So
Thank you. Thank you so much.
have a good weekend.